The last voice note she never sent. Part 1, 2:17 a.m. There are moments that divide your life into two parts, before and after. For me, it happened at 2:17 a.m. I was asleep while rain tapped gently against my bedroom window. My phone vibrated once on the bedside table, lighting up the dark room for only a few seconds before everything became quiet again. I didn't wake up. I didn't know that somewhere across the city, the girl I loved was trying to leave me one final message. Her name was Olivia. If you had met her, you probably wouldn't have noticed her at first. She wasn't the loudest person in the room or the one everyone gathered around. Olivia had a quiet kind of warmth, the kind that made people feel at home without realizing why. She loved rainy afternoons, carried a small brown notebook wherever she went, and believed every ordinary day deserved at least one beautiful sentence. But my favorite thing about her wasn't any of that. It was her voice. Olivia hated long text messages. Whenever she wanted to tell me something, she'd record a voice note instead. Some lasted 10 seconds, some lasted 5 minutes. Sometimes she'd tell me about a funny customer at the cafe where she worked after college. Other times, she would hum the melody of a song that had been stuck in her head all day, and every single voice note ended exactly the same way. Don't overthink it, okay? I used to laugh every time I heard it. Olivia, I'd tease her. One day you're going to run out of ways to end your voice notes. She'd laugh softly. I don't think so. Why not? Because you'll never stop overthinking. She was right. I thought everything, except the one thing that mattered. The next morning, sunlight spilled across my room as I reached for my phone. I expected to see the usual messages from friends or college classmates. Instead, there was only one notification. Voice note, Olivia. A smile appeared on my face before I even opened it. Let's see what you have to say this time, I whispered. I tapped the message. Nothing. The screen flashed an error. Voice message unavailable. I frowned and tried again. The same message appeared. Seriously? I muttered. Bad internet. Before I could try a third time, my phone started ringing. It was Ethan, my best friend. The moment I answered, I knew something was wrong. He wasn't speaking, he was crying. Ethan, I said, sitting upright. What happened? His breath was shaky. Ryan, yeah? You need to come to St. Mary's Hospital. My heart tightened. Why? For a few seconds, there was only silence. Then he whispered the words that shattered my world. It's Olivia. There was an accident. The phone slipped from my hand. Everything around me became strangely quiet. People always say that when your heart breaks, time stops. It doesn't. The clock keeps ticking. Cars keep driving. People keep laughing. The world moves on, even when yours has just fallen apart. I don't remember how I got to the hospital. I only remember running through endless white hallways until I saw Ethan waiting outside a closed door. His eyes were red. He looked at me and slowly shook his head. I never got to say goodbye. Outside, rain began falling again. The same rain that had fallen while Olivia recorded the voice message I never got to hear. Days passed like a dream I couldn't wake up from. Flowers, funeral prayers, people telling me she was in a better place. None of it mattered. Every night I opened her chat and stared at that one message. Voice message Olivia. I tapped it again and again and again. Every single time the same words appeared. Voice message unavailable. I started wondering what she'd wanted to tell me. Was it I love you? Was it a goodbye? Or was it just another ordinary voice note ending with, don't overthink it, okay? I told myself I'd never know. I was wrong. Because exactly 30 days after Olivia's funeral, at 2:17 a.m., my phone vibrated. A new notification appeared. Olivia is recording a voice message. Part 2. She couldn't be calling. I stared at my phone without blinking. The screen still glowed in the darkness. Olivia is recording a voice message. My heart pounded so loudly that I could barely hear the rain outside. No, I whispered. This can't be happening. 30 days. Olivia had been gone for 30 days. I had stood beside her grave. I had watched people place white roses on the fresh soil. I had whispered a goodbye I never wanted to say. So how? How could she be recording a voice message? The notification disappeared. A second later, my phone vibrated again. Voice message Olivia. Duration 0.47. 47 seconds. I couldn't bring myself to press play. What if it wasn't really her? What if someone was playing a cruel joke? But another thought was even more terrifying. What if it really was Olivia? My thumb hovered over the screen. Finally, I pressed it. For a few seconds, there was nothing but the sound of rain. Not heavy rain, gentle rain, the kind Olivia loved. Then I heard her breathing. I froze. It was unmistakably her. Every laugh, every sigh, every tiny pause. I would have recognized her voice anywhere. Ryan. My eyes instantly filled with tears. I don't know if you're hearing this. She sounded frightened. But if you are, please listen carefully. There was a loud crack of thunder in the background. Then a car door slammed. Olivia lowered her voice to almost a whisper. They said it would look like an accident. My blood ran cold. If anything happens to me. She stopped speaking. I could hear horrid footsteps. Someone shouted something far away, but the words were impossible to understand. Then Olivia spoke again. Please don't let them destroy my notebook. Static, a sharp buzzing sound. The recording skipped, and then silence. The message ended. I played it again and again. The words never changed. They said it would look like an accident. Those 7 words echoed inside my head. The police had called it an accident. Everyone believed them, including me, until now. My phone rang. It was Ethan. I answered immediately. Ethan, I know, he said before I could speak. You got the message too, didn't you? I stopped breathing. What? I just received an email from Olivia. I gripped the phone tighter. What did it say? There was a long silence. Then Ethan answered in a voice I had never heard before. Just 4 words. What words? Find the notebook, hurry. The line went silent. Neither of us spoke. Neither of us knew how it was possible. But one thing was certainly clear. Olivia hadn't been trying to say goodbye. She hadn't been trying to leave behind the truth. And someone didn't want us to find it. I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard Olivia's voice. Please don't let them destroy my notebook. By sunrise, I had replayed the voice note 34 times. The words never changed. The fear in her voice never faded. At exactly 8 o'clock, Ethan pulled up outside my apartment. Neither of us smiled. Neither of us asked how the other was doing. There wasn't any point. We both knew our lives had changed the moment Olivia's message arrived. You brought the email? I asked as I got into the car. He nodded and handed me his phone. The sender simply said, Olivia. There was no profile picture, no email address, just one sentence. Find the notebook, hurry. No signature, no explanation. No clue. It doesn't make any sense. Ethan muttered as he started the car. I checked the email headers. Whoever sent it knew how to cover their tracks. I stayed out of the window. If Olivia wanted us to find the notebook, then that's where we start. The drive to Olivia's house felt longer than ever. Rain clouds still covered the sky. Olivia would have loved this weather. She always said rainy mornings made the world feel honest. When we reached her house, her mother welcomed us inside with tired eyes and a gentle smile. She looked older than she had just a month ago. Grief had stolen the light from her face. I wasn't expecting visitors, she said softly. We just have a few questions, I replied. She nodded. I thought you might. She led us into Olivia's room. For a moment, I couldn't move. Everything was exactly as she'd left it. Her bookshelf, her favorite cream colored sweater hanging behind the door, the mug she always forgot to take downstairs. Even the dried lavender on her desk still carried a faint scent. It felt as though she'd walk in at any second and laugh because I'd started crying or nothing. Then my eyes fell on the empty space beside her lamp. There, I whispered. Eden looked over. What? That's where she kept it. That notebook. There was a perfect rectangle of dust where something had once rested. It hadn't been misplaced, it had been taken. Olivia's mother slowly nodded. I noticed that after the funeral. You didn't remove it? I asked. She shook her head. No. Did anyone come into this room? She hesitated. The police. Anyone else? She looked away, searching her memory. There was one young man. I'd never seen him before. My heartbeat quickened. What did he want? He said he was one of Olivia's classmates, but Olivia never mentioned him. Did he tell you his name? No. What did he look like? He was tall, wore a black jacket. She paused, and he had a small scar above his right eyebrow. Ethan and I exchanged a glance. Neither of us recognized the description. How long was he here? Ethan asked. Only a few minutes. And after he left? She looked towards the empty spot on the desk. The notebook was gone. The room suddenly felt colder. Someone had taken Olivia's notebook before her family even realized it was missing. But why? I walked her to her bookshelf, running my fingers across the rows of novels she loved. As I reached for one of them, something slipped out from between the pages. I folded photograph. It landed face down on the floor. I picked it up. It was an old picture from our first year of college. Olivia, Ethan, me, and one more person. A young man standing slightly behind us. He was smiling, but what caught my attention wasn't his smile. It was a thin scar above his right eyebrow. I looked up at Ethan. His face had gone completely pale. I know him, he whispered. You do? He swallowed hard. His name is Daniel. Olivia told me they met only once. I turned the photograph over. Written on the back is Olivia's handwriting. Were 6 words that made my heart sink. If anything happens, don't trust Daniel. Part 4. Daniel. Neither of us spoke. The photograph felt heavier than it should have. I stared at the words Olivia had written on the back. If anything happens, don't trust Daniel. My fingers tightened around the picture. Ethan, I whispered. Who is he? He looked away. I was hoping I'd never hear that name again. What do you mean? Ethan let out a slow breath. Daniel transferred to our college during our second year. I don't remember him. You were not supposed to. He barely spoke to anyone. I looked back at the photograph, but Olivia knew him. Ethan nodded. Too well. A cold silence settled between us. Olivia's mother watched us with worried eyes. Is something wrong? I forced a smile. No, we're just trying to remember an old classmate. She nodded, though I could tell she didn't believe me. As we left the house, the rain finally stopped. The streets were still wet, reflecting the grey afternoon sky. Neither of us got into the car. Instead, Eden leaned against it and buried his hand in his pockets. I never told you this, he said quietly. Told me what? A week before Olivia's accident, she asked me if I trusted Daniel. I frowned. What did you say? I laughed. He looked down at the ground. I thought she was joking. What did she say? Ethan closed his eyes as if replaying the memory. She said, sometimes the nicest people hide the darkest secrets. A chill ran through me. Why didn't you tell me? Because the next day she acted completely normal. I thought she simply had an argument with him. I took the photograph from my pocket again. Daniel's smile looked ordinary, too ordinary, the kind of smile that revealed absolutely nothing. There's more, Eden whispered. I looked at him. I saw Daniel at Olivia's funeral. What? He stood far away from everyone else. Did you talk to him? No. He disappeared before the service had ended. I never saw him again. The sound of thunder rolled across the sky. I looked up. Dark clouds were gathering once more. Olivia always loved storms. She used to say they reminded her that even the loudest skies eventually became quiet. As we drove back towards the city, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Something told me not to. I answered, hello? At first, nothing. Just breathing. Slow. Calm. Then a man's voice spoke. If you loved Olivia, stop looking for the notebook. My entire body froze. Who is this? Silence. Then he continued. Some stories are better left unfinished. The call ended. I immediately tried calling the number back. Number unavailable. Ethan looked at me. What happened? I swallowed hard. Someone knows we're searching. Before either of us could say another word, a black car that had been parked across the street started its engine. Its headlights switched on, and very slowly it begins following us. That's it for today. Follow for more. Thank you.